Welcome back to the 6th episode of the Groff Show podcast. Today is going to be a great episode. Former teammate of mine, Griz, Montana legend, quarterback. He is a current quarterback right now for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, the reigning Grey Cup champion, the one and only Dalton Sneed. Dalton, appreciate you coming on, bro.
Hey, man, I appreciate you having me. Love what you're doing, bro.
Dude, appreciate it. So what's Dalton Sneed doing right now? That's the first question. I bet a lot of Griz Nation fans want to know. What's Dalton Sneed doing? And if you want to give yourself a little intro too, go right ahead.
Yeah, man, just kind of been a hectic last year and a half, obviously. Everyone's in the same boat with COVID and whatnot. So just trying to navigate through that. Just been training the last 18 months, kind of waiting on the opportunity, waiting for the CFL to announce when we really start our season. In the meantime, obviously you got to have some income. So jumped into real estate. Both my fiance and I are doing that. So kind of learning as we go, closing a few deals here and there. And now transitioning into really football, leaving this Friday. So it's exciting when we get back to playing, man.
Jeez, that's crazy. So we're going to backtrack a little bit. You're from Arizona. How was your high school recruitment and how did you decide to your first stop, UNLV?
Yeah, it wasn't what I hoped it would be, in the sense that really I didn't get very much interest. As a matter of fact, the only offer I had out of high school really was UNLV. And we'll talk about this more, but it was Coach Hauk and Coach Rosie who are there now. Got a call kind of out of the blue one day from Coach Rosie, said he was from UNLV, kind of joked, "Hey, do you even know where UNLV's at?" And I was laughing and stuff, but he's like, "Yeah, we want to offer you." And that was obviously exactly where I wanted to be. That was my biggest dream, play college football, and to get that opportunity from him was huge. So ended up going out there a week later. It's only a 4-hour drive from us. So went on an unofficial and was like, yeah, I mean, this is where I want to be. And I mean, the hardest thing now with college recruitment is, especially being a quarterback, they're usually only taking 1, maybe 2 guys in that class. And obviously they're sending out 4, 5, 6 offers to guys they want. So it's really a first come, first serve basis. I mean, and he told me that, he was honest. That's why I love Coach Rosie and Coach Hauk. They're like, "Hey, look, we've got 5 offers on the table. We're taking 1 guy."
Oh, wow.
And I was like, yeah, I'm not losing my opportunity. So I was like, I commit right now.
Dang.
And kind of locked in there.
You're at UNLV. One specific play that I want to talk about is the longest quarterback. You probably know what I'm talking about. The longest quarterback run in school history. Is that still on the table? Is that, you hold the record for that, or what's the?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Man, that was crazy. It was actually, I'll never forget. We're right hash, 3rd and 11. We called a vert switch play. And like in the back of my mind, all I'm thinking is like, okay, like don't take a sack here. Like don't take a safety. Like coaches will lose their mind on you. It was my first start. I'm a freshman. So I dropped back, didn't like the look. So I was like, all right, I got to get out of here. Next thing I knew, like I'm back in my own end zone. And I was like, so it was kind of like a panic mode, but basically cut back across, found a little gap. And I was like, okay, get the first down. It was 3rd and 11. I see like I'm about to like go out of bounds after the first down. And I see like our tight end who had come on like that vertical from the backside, like breaking across the field to like throw a block. And I like see him. So I just stuck my foot in the ground and hit it, got like 2 or 3 great blocks. And like the next thing I knew, I was just like running and it was just like complete green grass.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man, it was sort of blacked out there for a second.
How would you have to get the oxygen tank after, or what?
And I wish it was. And of course, like right after we score, defense 3 and out, and I was still gassed on the sideline. I was like, oh man. So running back out there, I was still winded, but might have just been the nerves and everything.
That's funny. So you left UNLV. Just kind of talk about the whole transfer portal life, why you left UNLV, and the whole transfer saga, because there's obviously people don't understand, like there's reasons for why people transfer. Some people think it's like selfish, some people think it's like, you know, between coaches and like not playing time and stuff like that. I never was in that situation, but you obviously, you transferring twice. Just kind of talk about, you know, all of that and what happened, I guess.
Right. So kind of backing up, like I said, I was recruited by Coach Hauk and Coach Rosie. I committed during my senior year, I want to say in like June of whatever it was, 2014. So we play our entire season. I wanted to get up there for like a game. And actually I went to their last home game. It was against our rival UNR, Nevada Reno. Next morning I get a call from Coach Rosie, and he was like, hey, like we got let go. Like I apologize, but you might want to like pursue other opportunities.
Oh, wow.
So like right then I was like, dang, like my recruitment wasn't anywhere else. Like I'd been committed to UNLV for 6, 7, 8 months. And I kind of thought I was screwed at that point. Then Coach Tony Sanchez gets hired out of Bishop Brumman High School. They ended up honoring my recruitment or my commitment, which was awesome. So played for them a year and a half, and it really just wasn't. One thing that I've learned is like, it's not just like you have to mesh with the coaches. You have to see eye to eye. And like, if you don't, it's extremely hard to be successful. And that was just one thing. Like, I don't know if it, like I wasn't their guy or if it was me. But it didn't mesh. Yeah. And like, I kind of saw the writing on the wall and was like, look, I'm not set up for the success that I want to have being here, even though like I got a significant amount of playing time as a freshman. Like I said, like I had to get out of there. So I entered the portal, kind of didn't really know what I was doing. I was in, kind of another rule when you're in D1, and like, you probably already know this, like you can't just transfer to another D1. You have to sit out a year and lose a year of eligibility. So like in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go the Juco route. That way I get playing time, get some film, and then see where my opportunities go from there. So I was kind of already slotted with Arizona having like such a good Juco field for football. I was like, okay, I'm probably either going to go to like SEC or Arizona Western, because they were like powerhouses at the time. They were consistently good. So when I moved back here, I was talking to SEC. It was like, it's like 10 minutes for me. So I was thinking about, okay, yeah, I'm going to go there. I get a call from Cale Pick, who's the head coach at Fort Scott Community College, which is a little town, 5,000 people in Southeast Kansas. And he's like, hey man, watch your film. Love you. Want to come out and see you. And I was like, okay, yeah, like that sounds great. He's at my door 2 days later, flew from Kansas City to Phoenix, came in, like actually he brought a bunch of like the Fort Scott jerseys, opened his laptop, and the first thing he starts showing me is film of Johnny Manziel at A&M. He was a GA there and was actually coaching like slots and receivers there. So he knew their system, and that's the exact system he was going to implement at Fort Scott. So I was like, I guess that fits. So I told my parents, I was like, hey, I want to go visit. So we flew out there, and man, it was it was a different pace of life.
Yeah.
I mean, that is such a small town. It was literally like, picture the movie Cars, Radiator Springs. Like that's what it was like. There's 2 main stoplights, like a 2-lane road, like a main drag, and that's it.
Oh my gosh.
But in the back of my mind, I was like, okay, like I'm only going to be here a year. And with this system, with basically what he's telling me, the receivers he's bringing in, and Kansas Juco football is actually better in Arizona. The Kansas Jayhawk conference, like you have Hutch, you have Garden City, you have all those schools that not only brings in a lot of talent, but there's also a lot of exposure to college coaches. I mean, you're going to have college coaches every single game. So I ended up signing there. And it was rough. I'm not going to lie to you. It was rough at first. I mean, I was in a dorm again, a little cinder block dorm room with another roommate, but I got to say, it was like one of the best years, most humbling experiences of my life. I mean, the people I met, the time I had, and it was really one moment that like stuck out in particular. Like when you're at a main university, like all your equipment's given to you. Like you get cleats, you get towels, you get wristbands, whatever. They didn't give anything. So I was like, man, like I need a pair of cleats. So I had to drive 2 hours with some guys like up to Kansas City to go buy a pair of cleats, which was, I mean, that's normal for everyone else. But when like you're accustomed to, okay, all I got to do at UNLV is walk to the equipment window and grab a pair of cleats and I'm good, So it was definitely an experience, but one that really, I feel, shaped me into the player and person I am today.
That's cool. You were also on Last Chance U. I know a lot of people don't know about that against Indy. How was Indy? Was Indy pretty legit that year, or how was your guys' season against them? And
they were decent that year. We lost that game. I think it was like 30-16. And they exposed me. I had 2 picks that game, and those are like the only 2 plays that were showed. I was like, So
did you watch it back on Netflix or no?
Yeah, I watched it. It was fun, man. It was just cool because like when we pull up, we're getting ready for the game, like camera crews set up everywhere. Like you're walking out. It felt like almost like a big time college game, so to speak, even though the stands we played in were like a tiny high school there in Fort Scott. So it was definitely fun. It was an experience.
That's awesome. So how in the world did Montana find you in Kansas? Did you keep in contact with Rosie and Halk during that time at all, or was it just like out of the blue they reached out to you again like a
So
year or so
Rosie,
later?
one thing that I love about Coach Rosie is like he would always keep tabs on me. Like
Mhm.
regardless if it was every 2 months, he'd just send me a message like, "Hey, how are you doing?" Because at that time he was the head coach at, I believe it was Adams State.
Yeah.
So he would just always keep tabs like, "Hey, thinking about you, man. Like, hope you're doing well." But it was nothing like a recruitment. It was more of like a, "Hey, just how are you doing?"
Mhm.
So my first offer at Fort Scott was Coastal Carolina, and I was
Ooh.
like, "Dang, Myrtle Beach, like
Yeah.
turquoise field, like it was cool." I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm like that's awesome." I didn't commit right away. Like that was middle of the season, so kind of went out. Our last game we're playing Garden City, ran like a quarterback draw, get tackled wrong, broke my collarbone
Mm.
first play. So I come
Ouch.
after the season ends, I come back, I get surgery. I'm sitting on my couch and I'd like texted the guy who offered me. I was like, "Hey coach, would love to get out there for a visit." And like I'm sitting there and he texts me, he's like, "Sorry, we decided to go other ways."
Uh,
And I'm like, okay, so just lost that offer.
yeah.
Um, Ended up going back for like another month to Fort Scott to finish out school. Portland State was actually recruiting me like heavily. They offer, I end up going there for a visit. We're at dinner. The OC breaks out like the signing papers and is like, "Hey, I know you're enjoying your visit. We'd love to have you. Here's the papers."
Oh,
And I'm sitting
wow.
there and I'm like, about to sign. And I was like, "Coach, I need to reflect on this a little bit, whatnot." The next day, Coach Rosie calls me and is like, "Hey, Coach Hawks got hired in Montana. I'm going up there. We want you." And I'm
Oh,
like,
wow.
"Oh man, like talk about just like stuff falling in the lap, right place, right time."
Mm.
So I was like, okay, kind of had a lot to think about and had never even
Mm.
been to Montana, had never
Yeah.
really known what Missoula is or
Mm.
the University of Montana, the history behind it. Um, so I come home, Coach Howe calls me, we're kind of chatting. He's like, "Hey, do me a favor, go pull up the 2009 semifinal game against Appalachian State and call me back." So I go on YouTube, pull it up, and like that was the first time I'd seen the stadium. And I don't know if
Mm.
you've seen that YouTube video where like,
Oh, yeah.
oh dude, it starts snowing at halftime, like the stands are nuts, and I'm like, whoa. Yeah. So
What is
now I'm sitting here,
snow?
I'm like, all right, I got Portland State and I got Montana. Like,
Yeah.
what do I want to do? And I was kind of talking to my parents, and they're like, "Hey, do it. Like, this is your decision. You got to do
Mm.
what like you feel is right in your heart." And call coach, call Coach Hauk back, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm coming to Montana." And
Dang.
it was like it was a big leap for me because I mean I'd never been to Montana. I'd never been north of Las Vegas.
Mm.
So then yeah, end up enrolling in January, drive up there, and there's like a foot of snow on the ground. And obviously you're an Arizona guy, so you understand like I'm used
No
to
bueno.
115,
Yeah.
like so it was definitely experience, but obviously looking back, made the right decision.
It's kind of crazy how foreshadowing your whole journey's been because when you said Coach Rosie was like, "Oh, do you know where Las Vegas is?" It's like, yeah, everyone knows where Las Vegas is, but it's like,
Right.
do you know where Montana is? It's like, I didn't know where Montana was, and you probably didn't know
No,
where
man.
Montana was either. That's crazy.
I
But
never even heard of Missoula until like I started researching,
oh my
which
gosh,
is
I think it's an underrated,
unbelievable,
great college town for sure.
right?
But yeah. So what? Talk about your time at Montana. Obviously, you had an unbelievable 2 years here. Let's talk about what was your experience like coming in as a new guy first on the Montana team because I've heard some funny stories too about what happened. But
Yeah, man. Um, it was rough at first. I'm not gonna lie. It was rough because, and that's one thing that I've come to like love and cherish about Montana is it's like you can't just come in there and like expect to be the guy or expect to, be a leader at it. Like you gotta earn your spot. And
mhm,
that's one thing that like all the guys and especially Montana guys and guys who had been there, they're gonna keep you in check. Um, and it was kind of a misunderstanding in the weight room. Like, I didn't even know who Josh Buss was,
yeah,
so
I
I
was about
didn't
to
know who
say
anyone was. And obviously, he's like the All American, like stud linebacker there, right?
yeah.
And Keenan was calling up a break, and being how big our weight room is, a bunch of guys at the end didn't hear. So I was like, hey, let's get a break. And Josh didn't like that. He thought that like I was calling up a break, which I wouldn't have done at that point. Like I'm not stupid enough to like try and come in and like, all right, let's get a break. Like I haven't done anything. I haven't earned my spot here. Yeah. And he kind of chipped at me and we chipped back, and there was this like bad blood there for a while. And especially with like guys on the team. Like I didn't have the respect of guys. People were like, hey, who's this guy coming in? I had long hair at the time. They're like, man, like get this guy out here. So that was a tough transition. Like I really had to like earn respect from the guys. That was the biggest thing, which obviously I've come to appreciate because that's what makes Montana, Montana. So yeah, it was kind of a bumpy road at first, but obviously transitioned well.
That's nuts. What was your favorite game that you played in?
Oh, it's tough.
At Montana. Yeah.
I mean, the throwback jerseys, that game, obviously I had a great game that game. That was fun. We pulled out the new fake pitch play. So that one was always fun, but.
Funny story about that game, which is funny. It was my freshman year. And usually like the freshmen and stuff get to like wear their jersey like up in the stands or whatever. And it was a throwback jerseys, and Epperly was number 30 and I was 30 at the time too. And they only had 130. So he's like, we don't have another 30 for you. So you're gonna have to wear this jersey. And he gave me like 11, which is your number.
I didn't know that. I love it.
He gave me an extra 11. So I have a photo of it. It's so funny. And I was like in the stands the whole time, and you had like 150 yards rushing or something like that. And there's a video on TV or whatever, me like this with the 11 jersey.
Oh, dude, you never told me that. I
think I did, but you probably didn't. You're probably just adrenaline rushing or something like that. But
the fan base at Missoula is just incredible. They're so supportive. I mean, even when I would have bad games, like people after the game would come up and be like, hey man, like great game. Get them next time. Like there was never any bad fans, so to speak. Everyone was so supportive and loving and caring and really cared about you, not only as like a quarterback, but as a person. Like you when you're the quarterback in Maine University like that, usually people don't see you as Dalton. They see you as the quarterback. And that's one thing that I loved is everyone really treated me as a person. Hey, how are you doing? Hey, like good to see you, Dalton. Like it was good and great things that were brought.
Transitioning after playing Griz football, after you're done with your college career, what was like the mindset after? Were you expecting to play at the pros? Like, did you want to play? And like, what was the whole process of getting an agent and just like training and all that kind of stuff? Because I mean, I can't imagine how scary it was not knowing what's next.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, all the seniors. So when I was a junior, like when the seniors graduate, like everyone always tells you, like, dude, it goes by so fast. Like the real world, like it's a scary place, man. Like when you're thrown at, like it's no.
I'm not looking
like,
forward to it. Looking forward to it.
It's no long. Like I wish I was going to school. Like I wish I was like hanging out with the guys and working out and like having a routine schedule. So like it's tough. And one thing, especially after the Weber State game, like that was obviously a really tough game for me. Like I let a lot of people down, and that was something that I had to reflect on. Like, okay, I need to get back to my dream. I need to go back. I need to find Dalton. And like one game can't define your career. And that was one thing that like was tough for me to like advance through. Like, okay, where do I need to put myself to be successful? And I was lucky enough to like have an agent who believed in me, actually a guy out of Helena, Montana. And he was like, hey, let's find something for you. And the CFL works differently with guys from the United States. So they have what's called a negotiations list. And once they put you on their negotiation list, and they can do that at any point throughout your senior year. So I was on Edmonton's negotiation list for pretty much the entire season. And then after that, they dropped me. So I was like, well, there goes that opportunity. Like, and it's pretty much, you don't know what the future holds. Like you just got to put your head down and work. And it's not like I can reach out to coaches. It's not like I can go do this, especially with like right when COVID hit, we had no pro day. So I was kind of stuck. I didn't know, okay, do I need to go find a job? Like, am I going to have another opportunity to play football? And then Winnipeg called. I ended up getting a offer to sign with them. So obviously I was like, man, here's my opportunity. And I took it. So that was March of 2020, signed, season gets canceled. And now here we are again, just another like obstacle you just got to work through. So it's been, I guess, a little over a year now of just constant training, not knowing what the future is going to hold.
When you heard about Winnipeg and the whole CFL and that you were going to be going there, what were some things that you heard about it? What were some things you had to look up about it? Because obviously it's way different than American football. They sent you a football. Like, what's what's all that been like, I guess? Because I
Well,
don't
I
really know a whole
guess.
lot about the CFL. I don't know a whole lot about it. Keelan's told me some about it, but honestly, it's just
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it's I guess football's football in a standpoint, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the rules, man, it's definitely been a learning curve. I mean, you can have, first of all, it's 12 on 12. The field is 14 yards wider. There's 20-yard touchdowns. You only get 3 downs. So if you don't get a first down the first 2, you're punting on third.
Wow.
You always have to account for like the extra safety with an extra guy out there. And not to mention, like, you have 5 receivers, 3 of which can go in motion any way they want, crossing formations, and then your 2 end guys can motion horizontally. So you can have 5 guys motioning in one play, coming into a bunch, or motioning across out of a 4x1 set and motioning over to a 3x2 and a cluster set. And like, you have to know, okay, where's my Y, where's my Z, where's my guys, so you know what routes they're running. You have to be ready for everything. That's one thing that I've learned with playbook installs and trying to study the plays and motions and protections is it's a different ball game. Like, you gotta adapt, so to speak.
What's a rule that you just can't wrap your head around still?
Oh man, so we had a meeting today, and if there's a fumble, you can kick the ball. If you kick the ball and it goes out of bounds, it's awarded to the other team. If there's a fumble and whoever hits the ball out of bounds gets possession. So if you fumble it and it's kind of coming upfield and it's 3 yards from the sideline and the defender just jumps and smacks it out of bounds, it's their ball.
What?
If they kick it out of bounds, it's your ball. So it's, yeah, I literally just learned that rule. I didn't know that rule today. Actually just learned it like an hour ago in a meeting, and I'm sitting here like, dude, so if you fumble and you see the ball and I just go smack it out of bounds, you keep it. Like, you don't have to dive on it and jump possession. So that's, obviously it doesn't come up that much, but that could be a huge turning point in a game.
Wow. I did not know that rule at all. That's
right?
crazy.
Yeah.
What's something that you're looking forward to most about playing in the CFL and living in Canada, a new country? Have you ever been to Canada before, or what's the?
I have.
What do you know about Canada, I guess?
Fairly nothing, to be honest with you. Fairly nothing. It's gonna be a whole new experience, but something I'm excited for. Obviously, I've lived 4 or 5 different states at this point, and I think the biggest thing is just you're able to meet other people. You're able to experience other things, and that's life. That you get. I have an opportunity that not a lot of people get, and that's something I've been very blessed with, and that I want to run with. But I mean, obviously, the thing I'm most excited with is just to go back and play football. Yeah. Still got a bad taste in my mouth. I mean, the last pass I threw was an interception against Weber State. So I'm just looking forward to getting out there and really being with the team, having a schedule and having camaraderie with the guys, and overall just playing football. I mean, that's why I play. I love the game of football. I have since I first put a helmet on. And that's something that I've missed for a year and a half now. That I couldn't be more excited to get back to do.
Have you received any advice about playing at the pro level and stuff? Have you reached out to any of your teammates and stuff like that, or anything like that at all? Or
yeah, I think a lot of people that have played at the highest level is just the preparation is so important. Like, you have to be prepared. If you don't know what you're doing, it's no longer okay, get in the back of the line. It's like, you're cut, you're out of here. Like, it's a business. It's super cutthroat. You have to be prepared. But on the same time, like, when you get up there, like, you can only control what you can control. Every day you have to approach it with full intensity. You have to approach it with a mindset of, okay, I need to be locked in every single thing I do. Every drop, every time that I'm not in, I have to be focused on the play. I have to take a mental rep every single play, because your reps are limited, especially as a quarterback. Like, there's not 5 receivers on the field. There's 1 quarterback. So when you're not in, you have to be taking those mental reps. If you don't, you're not going to be prepared. You're not going to know what to do if a situation arises. If you see the other quarterback out there and he gets cover 0 and he misses his hot, you have to be sitting there ready. Okay, I would have thrown my hot there. That's a mental rep. That's something I can get better at. Not just, okay, I'm standing over here kind of BSing with another teammate. You got to be locked in 24/7.
So since that whole time, since March 2020, what's that year looked like? Because I know you got engaged. I know you're a real estate agent too. Like, what all happened during that time? How was the training and stuff like that, I guess? Because at that point, you're just waiting.
Yeah. So they they actually just kept backing the season up, saying, so we were supposed to report May 2nd or something, first week of May. And they just kept pushing it back. So it was just like, okay, I'm going to keep training. So I'm training all the way until August. And then that was when they finally pulled the plug on the season, saying, hey, we're canceling our season. So that was when I was like, what am I going to do? I've got, I guess, 8 months now or 7 months until the next season hits. So I got to find something. And that was kind of actually tying back into Christian Lopez, who I was with at UNLV. Yeah. He, we're sitting there playing video games one day and he's like, hey, is Beth, my fiance, is she still doing real estate? He's like, so my brother has been doing it in AZ. He's looking for people to add to his team. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Like, I'll give you your contact and get him in touch. Fast forward, like literally 5 minutes. I was like, man, that doesn't sound like a bad idea. Like that's something I could jump into, learn. And another thing where I don't have to be really committed to it. It's something I can pick up and put down, especially if I'm going to go live in Canada for 6 months. I can leave it. And then when I come back, pick it back up. So that's when I kind of jumped into that. September, ended up getting my license, and really have been doing that as well as training to just try and find an income revenue until now, report day. So
what are some things that you had to learn to get into real estate, I guess? Like, was it a super hard profession to pick up and like get your name out there? Or what was because I know you're a super competitive guy, so you're probably like, I just can't imagine you as a real estate agent and stuff like that. But.
Yeah. So it's honestly not too tough of a process. I mean, you have to take a class, which is like basically 120 hours worth of work, and they offered it online. So I would just sit down for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours a day and just read through everything, take tests. And then you have to pass a state exam, a national exam, and then find a brokerage. And then you're really just into it. But I think the hardest part, especially jumping into real estate right now, is like Arizona is booming. Like everyone is moving here from the Northwest, from Montana, Washington, California. So like the housing market is unbelievable right now. And there's 50,000 something agents in Arizona alone.
Wow.
With obviously less houses to sell, less buyers to work with. So the hardest part is just finding clients to represent. And if you don't, like, it's a commission-based job. If you don't get the sell, you don't get money. You don't get money, you don't eat. So it's competitive. Like you gotta make ties. You gotta go out. You gotta meet people. You gotta present yourself. You're really marketing yourself and telling people, hey, you should trust me with your investment. I will find you this for this price. I'm gonna get you what you need. And it's marketing yourself and being able to find that clientele to represent.
I had a big question because I saw this on Twitter that you are training with Kurt Warner, which we're both Arizona dudes. We're both Cardinals fans. Like, I mean, the dude's a legend. Like, what are some things that you learned from him, I guess, and how is he, I guess, as a coach to you through all of this?
Yeah, man, I'm so lucky to be training with him. Actually, I threw with him this morning, and I think a big thing, we're not really talking X's and O's, but just like it's mechanics, like a huge part of playing quarterback. Like you have to be good in your mechanics, like quick release, good feet. And that's one thing that I've missed a lot of. Even with like how much success I've had, I feel like I've been playing the quarterback position wrong for 18 years after like working with them, because it's a throwing motion. It's the ability to use your body to throw the ball. Like he always talks about arm, body, core. And if you're disengaged in your core, this is kind of going deep, but if you're disengaged in your core, like you're not going to throw a good ball. And it's funny, man, when we're out there and he's trying to teach me something and I'm not getting it done correctly, he's out there gloved up. And
I was about to say, is he still wearing his 2 gloves?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And he just turned 50 the other day, and man, he can still sling it. Like not even warming up, not anything. He's like, hey, watch this, watch my core, watch my delivery, compact the arm. I'm here. He like literally throws it like a dart, and it's like poetry in motion, man. It's just, I'm watching him throw the ball and I'm like, why can I not do this? And he makes it look so effortless. And when he's bouncing around, how he moves in the pocket, flips his hips, I'm like, yeah, there's a reason you're an NFL MVP and a Hall of Famer. So like I said, man, just to be learning from a guy of that caliber, and really trying to take what he's teaching me and put it into my game is something that I just so excited and so fortunate to have.
Has he told you any stories of him playing with Fitz or for the Cardinals or anything like that? Or
not really. A lot of the time when he was with the Rams, just like how he would approach and with his receivers. And like, he has this awesome, actually, I want to give a shout out to his little platform right now. All the young quarterbacks out there, QB Confidential, and he talks about everything of leadership to on the field to mechanics. I mean, he has it all. And that's something that I even signed up for. You take every bit of knowledge from a guy like that, and just his story and his mindset and competitiveness is really what sets him apart. It, like, all talent excluded, just how he approaches things. Like, you can tell when he talks, the way he approaches things it's a different level of a mentality. And I keep coming back to that, but his mentality is just so different. And it's this thing that sets him apart the most.
We're kind of jumping around and stuff, but I want to go back and talk about Montana, because I love how you're still involved with the program, still stop by and still talk to the dudes and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on this upcoming season for those guys, and who are some people that you're looking forward to seeing that maybe Griz fans don't really know about?
Oh, I think everyone knows about him, but my man Hump, man, he's one of my best friends. He's actually going to be in my wedding, and a guy that really we just hit it off as soon as we really got connected. And one thing that was, I guess, looking back, like how he battled through sitting for 2 years with how good of a quarterback he is, just shows like his mental toughness. And like, obviously one quarterback plays, and that was the hardest part. And for us, our ability to have a friendship out of that, especially at the level we have it at, is just like, it's rare. It's so rare. And I'm so fired up to see him like go out there and have that opportunity to showcase like his talent. I mean, we saw it in the first 2 games in the spring. Like, I'm just so excited, man. I can't even put into words how excited I am for him. And then of course, like, just the new guys that have came in for the O-line, the center from Nebraska, I forget his name, but just seeing these guys that are going to make such a big impact in the game, and the 2 corners that transferred in. I mean, Coach Houck's really building a solid team. And man, I just can't wait to see the success they have this year, because I know they're going to have it. Coach Houck's going to have them lined up right. It's just a matter of executing. And I wish I would be able to come up to a game this year, because it's different being on the sideline and playing versus being in the stands, obviously. Yeah. So it's just something I can't wait to see what they do this year.
My next question for you, bro. There's been a lot of debate going on in the NCAA whether college athletes should be paid or not. As a former college athlete yourself, I'd love to hear your take on this.
This is a tough question. I've gotten in I've had a lot of conversation about this, of people saying yes and no, but long story short, I think yes. I mean, we put in so many hours and make not only university, but the NCAA a $1 billion, if not like one of the biggest corporations there is. And for the athletes to put not only their body, but their mind, like, it's taxing. Like, that, like, it's a grind day in and day out. Like, you're up at 5:30 a.m. to work through the day, then go to class and try and have homework and try and get film in and try and get studying in for the game. Like, that's a lot. And for you to have to try and scrape by is tough. Not to mention, like, guys that are walk-ons aren't getting stipend checks. Like, then you have to, on top of that, try and find time to have a job. If your parents if you're not fortunate enough for your parents to like provide for you. I mean, there was a guy who walked on at UNLV, Aziz. He was working at Little Caesars as well as trying to like make a walk-on spot. Ended up earning a scholarship, which was unbelievable. But back to your point, like, we do so much for the NCAA and the university that I believe that we should be compensated more for it. And that's such a double-edged sword, because it's not a greed standpoint. It's not something you're like, okay, I need to make a career out of this, but you shouldn't have to scrape by when you're making everyone else so much more money. Like, I'm not saying people need to be having $60,000 a year. No way.
Yeah.
But as a college athlete, you should be put in a position where if I'm putting my mind and body on the line for you, like, there's got to be a point here where like, you got to help me out. And not to mention like the marketing, like, you look at high profile guys across the country that you've got 20,000 people that are wearing your name or supporting you, and the NCAA is raking in all the money off that. Like, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
I saw this thing that Johnny Manziel would have made like $5 million if they would have paid him minimum. Yeah.
Right.
That's crazy.
Dude,
I hate to see college athletes, bro, that can't play because of money. That's my biggest thing.
It's
like,
sad.
So many talented people out there that just can't play because of money and stuff. But next topic, Arizona sports, bro. You watching the Suns game tonight? What are your What
Suns
are your
predictions?
Suns in 5. Let's go, baby. Dude, I just love it. I tell people all the time, like, you don't understand the hole that Arizona sports was just in for like 20 years.
Yeah.
A deep hole. Like, no one would go to the postseason. No one would win championships. And the fact that, like, I mean, they could win it. I mean, it's just remarkable, honestly.
Dude, I think the biggest thing about the Suns is, like, obviously you got Booker and Ayton and like those are our like top stars, so to speak. Yeah. But they play so well together. Like, there's even our bench, like coming off the bench, like when we're on. I swear, like, they don't miss shots when they're on. Like,
Cameron Payne too.
Oh, when he wants to get to the hoop, he gets to the hoop.
But what are your thoughts on the Cardinals, man? What do you think they're gonna do this year? Because I mean, in Montana, I've been getting a lot of hate about Arizona. I'm the only Arizona dude. They're like, man, Cardinals aren't even going to finish first in the division. They're going to finish last. Like, I need someone to support me
right
on
there
this,
with
bro.
you.
Thank you.
You tell Sammy, because I'm sure he's one of the main ones.
He is.
Tell Sammy, ask about his Cowboys are doing, man.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, I think the Cardinals are primed for a good year this year. The tools that they brought in the offseason, you got Kyler with another year of experience under his belt. Like, our defense is looking solid. I think just comes down to execution, man. Obviously, the NFL, any team can win any game at any point. So it really comes down to who makes less mistakes and who executes. So I think they're primed for a good season, man. I'm excited for them.
So what's the future hold for Dalton Sneed, man? What are some upcoming things that are going to happen for you, bro? I know personal life and football life. What's all happening in Dalton Sneed's life?
Yeah, man, getting married next April. Actually, here in 2 days, it'll be 7 years with Beth. Kind of off and on breaks here and there. There's obviously gonna be bumpy roads that I'm super excited that we were able to work through them and communicate. But man, she's loved my life, so I get to marry her in April. And then just hopefully plugging away in football. Kind of don't want to get ahead of myself right now. All I'm worried about is preparing for camp and going up there and competing. God willing that I have a long, successful career, but that's to be determined. Obviously, that's the goal. So
that's awesome, bro. Appreciate you coming on. That's crazy. You're a pro athlete, bro. You're a professional athlete.
I don't even believe it myself, man.
That's funny.
I'm just happy to be playing football, man. I'd be playing for free, but don't tell them that.
I got you, bro. Appreciate you coming on, dude, and hope to see you soon, bro. We'll keep in touch or something.
Dude, I appreciate you having me on, dude. Like I said, like I wasn't bullshitting. I love what you're doing.
Catch you later, dude.
All right, bro. I appreciate you.
Appreciate Dalton Sneed for coming on, bro. A lot of great discussion. Hope you guys loved it. A lot of football talk for those out there who don't know a lot about football, but there's some real life talk as well. Appreciate all the support out there, and we'll see you next Thursday. Peace.